There's investment opportunities all around us if we just pay attention. Like the possibilities are just endless, really, honestly. I mean, keep in mind, there's only two roles the IRA is going to play, an owner or a loaner. So if you can figure out something where you see an opportunity that you could monetize somehow, there's usually a way to structure that so that it would be an investment that you could hold inside of a retirement account.
Let's talk a little bit about like unique investments. Some of the unique investments can be like people buy vending machines, people buy x-ray machines and lease them out to other doctors. Bull semen, I think, was one of them. Cattle. We talked about a little bit about loans for cars as well too. Can you go over some of these unique investments and how they're structured?
Yeah, so this is where people can get really creative. Is that I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, "Oh, you know what? I came up with this great idea for this product," right? Because they've identified a problem and they're like, "Man, this product would solve the problem." And so I say, there's investment opportunities all around us if we just pay attention. And so this is what I kind of throw into that category of really interesting kind of investments. And I could give you all kinds of scenarios, but I'll just give you a couple. There was a client years ago. He was a traveling salesman, and his territory was the Western United States, and he would drive through Montana. And so when he would drive through Montana, there was a particular area where there was just no cell service, right? And so what he ended up doing was having his retirement account. So he did some research and he found out like there's contractors, right? Just like there's contractors who build houses, there's contractors who specialize in building church buildings, there's contractors who specialize in building cell towers. So he bought a little plot of land and had his IRA buy this land, build a cell tower on this piece of land, and now that cell tower is owned by his retirement account. And every time somebody with AT&T or T-Mobile or Verizon or whatever drives through and hits that tower and is on the phone, right? There's a certain percentage that Verizon, AT&T, and all these companies pay to his cell tower that now goes back to his retirement account, right? So that's just an example. He owns a cell tower in the middle of nowhere. So that's one example of like I put in the interesting category. I have a client who loves racehorses, super into horses. Well, horses, right, who are out for stud service, big money. I'm not into horses myself, but so what I know I've learned from a client who's really into it, and so she invested in a horse that then right they pay for that horse to quote impregnate another horse to develop future baby racehorses. The same thing holds true with like the bull semen, right? Now with bull semen, they can do in vitro. So there's certain bulls that, for whatever reason in the livestock world, right, that they want, like it trades like a commodity, right? And so livestock is big business. Livestock typically has like a serial number or something, right? They'll stamp the ears or whatnot. They tattoo it. And so people will invest in livestock. You'd be amazed at the level of creativity that I've seen people invoke. I've seen people who were in the timber bit, like in the paper business, or I should say, they didn't buy, they leased or bought an option on trees. This one guy, really clever guy, he was in the paper business. So he knew what kind of trees would make good paper. So when he would come across some land that's just basically out in the middle of nowhere that's got a bunch of trees on it, he'd find out who owns it and say, "Hey, would you mind if I'll pay you 10 grand to take an option on the trees on this land, like this parcel." Mm-hmm. And what he would do is he would take the option in his retirement account, and then he would go sell the option to one of the paper manufacturers that he dealt with, and they would go harvest the trees and pay a premium for the right to take over that option. I mean, just like that's why I say like the possibilities are just endless, really, honestly. I mean, you and like I said, keep in mind, there's only two roles the IRA is going to play, an owner or a loaner. So if you can figure out something where you see an opportunity that you could monetize somehow, there's usually a way to structure that so that it would be an investment that you could hold inside of a retirement account.
And could you wholesale real estate inside a retirement account, very similar to that option agreement that the
Yes,
tree guy?
that is possible because remember, we're looking at what is prohibited.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And
like exactly. So that's what he did. He had it. He wrote an option. It was owned by his Roth, and so that was an option contract. Yeah.
is there a limit to how many wholesales you can do a year or anything like that? Like, let's say I run a wholesale operations.
No, there's no limit. There's no limit on how many investments you can do inside your retirement account. The issue isn't whether or not it's not about volume or number of transactions, in my opinion. Um, However, if you operate a business in your retirement account, that's not prohibited. You're allowed to do that, but businesses are always taxable. And I think we might have talked about that in a
Yeah,
previous
we did. Yeah.
podcast as well, right? So investments are not taxable, businesses are taxable. So do you own investments in your account or are you operating a business in your account? Both are possible. You can do both. One's taxable, one's not, right?
I love it.
So that's just the issue to be aware of there. Yeah.